watching Keepin' It Green. I'm your host, Debbie Klughers, and today I'm going to be talking with Jessica Helm, who is with the Sierra Club. Thank you, Jessica, for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. Your title with the Sierra Club is the Conservation Chair for the Atlantic and New York chapter.
That's right.
And before I started researching a little bit on the Sierra Club, I didn't know that you had all these separate chapters.
Right, that's something that a lot of people don't know. They've heard of the large national organization, which does a lot of great work advocating for national level issues. But we have, each geographic area is broken into chapters that are independently functioning. We receive funding from national, a small amount for each member that we have. And then, what we do at the local level is determined by what we want our issues to be, what we feel is most important at our level. And as long as we stay within the general policy that's set at each level, we can basically advocate for what we feel is important in our area. And so that goes down again. The Long Island area has a Long Island group.
Okay.
So there's multiple groups within the Atlantic chapter. The Atlantic chapter covers New York State. So basically, it's a really good way to get volunteers be able to help at every level where obviously we have much more experience and knowledge about what's going on the ground in our area, so
Sure.
we can really help in that way.
What are some of the local issues that you guys are dealing with here on Long Island?
Well, of course, water, open space, and energy. They're particularly acute here on Long Island for a couple of reasons, but they're the same issues that everyone is facing everywhere.
Sure.
Of course, on Long Island, we have this sole source aquifer, or in other words, all of our water comes from the rain, goes through the ground, and that's what we drink. So the connection between pollution and clean water and health is particularly evident here on Long Island.
Absolutely.
We also have relatively disconnected energy production. So the transition from power plants that emit lots of CO2 and dangerous chemicals to going from that to renewables is something that we can't count quite as much on the rest of the country to do it for us because we're pretty much disconnected. So
the Sierra Club has its hand in pushing for clean energy.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're pushing for clean water. Mm-hmm. You're pushing for land preservation.
Absolutely, yeah.
The thing that I thought was great about the Sierra Club is that you do have so many different topics that you're focusing on of helping to save the planet that anyone that has a specific interest can get involved with your club.
Yes, definitely. And I guess part of the reason for that is that it's all interrelated.
Right.
So ultimately, our mission is to protect the planet. That's a really big mission. We focus on, the most prominent things because we have limited resources. But if someone comes to us and wants to help protect some aspect of the environment and is willing to help us work for that,
that's great.
That's great. Yeah. So we'll go pretty much anywhere.
Here on Long Island, you've got the Water Sentinels.
Right.
Which is amazing what they did. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I would love to, yeah. So the Water Sentinels is a really great program. It's at the national level, and we've had a year running of our local Water Sentinels program. And what this is a method for gathering test data with volunteers for water quality.
Do they have to have any kind of specific education in this type of work in order to get involved?
We give them a training session. It's just one-day training. We make sure that they feel comfortable with the tests. It doesn't require taking them to a laboratory. At some point, we'll want to start that up for specialized testing. But our volunteers go out and they test for pH. They test for dissolved oxygen, nitrate, nitrite, phosphorus.
Salt water and fresh water?
Yes, okay. We have both happening. Obviously the boundaries are pretty fluid on this island, but yeah. So the idea is to be able to pinpoint pollution when it starts.
Okay.
So if we know that the conditions have been a certain way over a couple of years is the goal, then if it changes suddenly, we can call attention to that fact before it's done, serious damage. So that's the idea. And volunteers, we have at least 20 volunteers across Long Island that are doing water testing now, and a lot of people are going out. We have students and parents, entire families coming out and testing with us.
That's great. That doesn't sound like a large number for all of Long Island, 20.
Well, no, it's for a year. It's not bad. What it is, the testing kits actually cost $1,000 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, and we provide those. So we're pretty much limited by how many we can roll out, how many people we can train at once to do it, and how many test kits we can roll out at once.
And your funding, of course.
Right, exactly. So, but each test kit, takes a lot less, about $200, $300, $400 to refill it for next year.
Okay.
So we'll be able to pull more out next year and the year after that. So this is going to build over time.
So this is a new project then?
For us here,
Okay.
it is, yeah.
Great.
Like I said, the national team has some experience with it, and they've given us a lot of support and advice. But yeah, this is with the help of Linda Freilich, who is a teacher at BOCES, Suffolk County BOCES.
Okay.
And so she's gotten her students involved in learning about water quality issues, and they've got some experiments going on in the classroom. It's so
That's
integrated with all the different parts of the community. It's really wonderful.
Well, that's good to bring environmental education into classrooms, because
Yeah.
I think that we're really, really lacking on that at the primary and high school levels. And I know that the Sierra Club advocates for the certain legislation. I'm not sure what it is right now. Oh, here it is, the Get Kids Outdoors. And the DOE, Department of Education, wants to push that, or we want the DOE to push that. So if we can get behind the Sierra Club to influence these policymakers.
Yeah, it's really important to get students, kids, you know, before they become adults with all of our responsibilities and all of our distractions, to get them really interested, genuinely interested in caring about the natural world. I think that children tend to are drawn to the natural world, but we need to give them the opportunity to do that as well. We've got some pretty scheduled lives now for our children as well. So to give them this opportunity to go out and explore and, you know, really become interested in, and that leads to wanting to protect and preserve as well.
Right, and that's a good environmental tip, like we were talking about before, to get just to get involved, go outside, get involved, get knowledgeable about the environment, and find something that you might want to take care of, that you feel a special connection to. And again, with the Sierra Club, you have so many different ways for people to get involved that anything with the environment that people are interested in, they could find an outlet through the Sierra Club.
Yeah.
And at 1.3 million members nationwide.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think I read that online. That's huge.
Yeah. Well, at the most basic level, you know, people with really busy lives, they care, but they just don't feel that they have the time at present to do more. They'll become members, and that's really helpful all by itself, because, of course, obviously it's resources, but it also gives us leverage when we're talking to politicians. Our national level does a lot of lobbying.
So you could say we have this many Americans behind us.
It's really helpful, even just to have that basic membership, which incidentally you can find online. I think we'll be showing the web address later. So there's a basic membership, but you can get involved in really every level. Like I said, I started out actually at the Long Island level. I started out working with the Long Island group. I think first I just went to meetings, and then I was a secretary.
Where are the meetings held?
Well, at present we're having meetings in Huntington. Unfortunately, Long Island is very long.
Yes.
So we've had to choose some place that's accessible to the largest number of volunteers that we have right now. And it's actually a point that we agonize over, that we can't get farther out east.
Well, maybe somebody can think about starting up a
We would be
separate group.
thrilled if somebody came to us and said they were interested in starting a Sierra Club organization, committee, at whatever level out here. We would totally support them. We would help them.
We have so much natural beauty out here that you know it's absolutely worth protecting. And
you're a lot closer to what it is that we're trying to protect out here. Exactly, and it's a lot more obvious when it starts disappearing too.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
That's true. And the Sierra Club is one of this nation's oldest environmental organizations, started back in the 1800s?
1892 was when it was founded, yes. It was founded by John Muir, which some of your viewers may have seen featured in the PBS National Park series, because John Muir was this great explorer, adventurer, exploring the wilderness at that time, and essentially brought Yosemite Valley to the nation's attention, and specifically to Teddy Roosevelt's attention. And
he invited him out there.
He did, yeah. And once he saw this incredible, spectacular natural beauty, he realized how important it was to protect it. And so that was really central to the founding of the nation's parks, and just the idea of protecting natural places.